How's it going, guys? My name is Tavares, and I have a friend who made a really dumb decision. And his name is Mat Armstrong. You might know him for rebuilding some pretty crazy cars in the UK. He recently bought a wrecked $700,000 Rolls Royce Wraith, previously owned by some sneaker enthusiast, with the hopes of rebuilding it. But that wasn't the dumb part. In order to fix his wrecked car, Matt bought another perfectly running Rolls Royce Wraith to take parts off, and then junk afterwards. That's right, he was going to throw this car away. Clearly, I couldn't let such an amazing car go to waste, so I packed my bags, traveled across the ocean, determined to rebuild a Rolls Royce that was left for dead. I flew 5,000 miles just for this. Oh, this is good. This is good. It is really large. There's a lot of car here. It's like the length of a school bus. This is so insane. Now, obviously, it's missing quite a lot, but it's better than I thought. So this door is missing, and look how long it is. I mean, you could like lay in here, and man, there's so much space in this car. So this is a 4-seater layout, and you can definitely have 2 adults in the back, even though they probably won't have too much headroom. But these doors are really, really cool because they open up this way. I think Rolls-Royce calls them carriage doors, and if you open them up while you're driving, then I think you probably died. So the doors are missing, which is no problem. Well, only one door is missing. That door is there. The rocker panel, we have, oh boy, okay, so there's a lot of stuff missing there. I think they replaced the subframe because that subframe is toast. So subframe, we have all the suspension, the brakes, the hubs. Okay, so we'll have to get that. The front end, we're missing an eye over here. But hey, there's a grill. That's nice. Okay, so this is a BMW engine, which I definitely love. I love BMWs. I love working on them. They're so nice. I mean, everything, just look at the layout here. Everything is straightforward. You can see where everything is. It's easy to get to. And everything I just said is a complete lie. This is probably one of the most complicated engines you can have. This is a V12 with twin turbos. And if you can tell me what anything is here, then leave it in the comments. I don't know what any of this does. I assume this is the intake manifold. You have intercoolers here. You have a direct injection system. The spark plugs are somewhere deep in there underneath these air boxes. So let's assume that this car doesn't need any work because I don't really feel like giving it a service. But as far as I can tell, Matt said that this car was tip top. It ran well. And it really, you know, it pains me to say because I think you shouldn't need to buy a car like this just to take it apart. I feel like you can definitely get all the parts. They're made here. It should be impossible for you not to find parts for a car that's made in the country that you're building it in. Check this out. Oh, that's so luxurious. This interior looks fantastic. It's black on red, which is the color of luxury. And it has piano black accents, and it's really quite in good shape. Now, I think it's like 50,000 miles on this car, and there is a little bit of wear and tear on here, but to be honest, this is not our biggest concern right now. I think this with some leather cleaner and some tidying up could be like, this thing would look brand new. Oh, look at that. Ladies and gentlemen, I have arrived. This is the part of the video where you realize that Tavares does not know how to use an umbrella. You have to pull it and then, oh dude, look at this. There's holes in it, hold on. Can you see the holes right here? Look. Matt put holes in my umbrella so I couldn't use it. It's supposed to shield rain from going down on your head, and it doesn't do that. So I think they put on some like BMW 7 Series subframe. I know they had to take apart the subframes. The jury's out on whether all the bolts are underneath the car because I know that they didn't really care about this car, but I care about this car. So we're gonna make sure all the bolts are back. A lot of room for activities in here. This is, well, the trunk section. I know that they had some issue with this, especially these guys. So these are the trunk, I guess, struts, and it looks like they have coilovers. Like they're almost like adjustable coilovers here. There's probably a lot of spring tension in here. And when we have to put a trunk back, that's gonna be a lot of fun, especially because I'm just here by myself. Well, I'm here with Tommy, the cameraman. And
that's pretty much by yourself.
It's, well, you know what? Like we're gonna do it because this is a Rolls Royce. I have never had a car this luxurious. Like I've had S classes before. This is the next step up. I am super excited because like I have never thought I'd be a Rolls Royce person, but here I am. So high school guidance counselor said I would never amount to anything. Look at me now, huh? Huh? Yeah. This bet you feel real dumb. Bet you feel real stupid. That's a pretty beefy exhaust. So I know this is probably gonna be quite light. Oh, all right. So that's like a McLaren. That is okay. That's. Woo. Now I know that Sue looks really rough, but her vehicle history is actually quite clean because I use today's sponsor, Car Vertical. Now, Car Vertical is the best vehicle history report you can buy with your money right now because not only does it tell you if the car has been stolen all over the world, but you can see mileage discrepancies in a really easy to use graph. You can see if the car has been in an accident, in a fire, in a flood, and if your car has ever been in a salvage lot, Car Vertical will have photos when it was in the lot so you can have all the information about your car's vehicle history. Now, Car Vertical makes it possible for you to make the best buying decision that you can, and although I make my buying decisions based on how bad the car is, well, you can have all the information that you need to make the best buying decision possible. So go to the link in the video description below or type in Tavares to get 20% off your next vehicle history report. It is so worth it. I use it on all my cars. I love all their features and they are a very good partner to the channel. So go check it out right now. So I know Matt took off a ton of stuff that I can't see right now. So I should probably ask him what parts I'm gonna need to rebuild my Rolls Royce because he's rebuilding his Rolls Royce. Let's go check it out. This is Mr. Mat Armstrong, and this is the very famous Mansory Wraith owned by Marcus Rashford. So this has some of my parts on it, doesn't it?
I don't know if you've noticed.
Oh, has there been some damage on this side?
No, not at all. Like it's all OEM repair on this side.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, for sure.
But there is a slightly different coloured door.
Ah.
This is Sue's door.
Sue's door. Yeah.
Sue's door. Nice colour. Hope you don't want it back.
No. You know, you keep it. I feel like yeah, it looks better on this car. So we have the coolant tank. Right here.
Yeah, I stole that.
Yeah.
I also stole the coolant filler. Have you had a look at that yet?
No. Okay.
That's interesting when you get to that part.
Okay, wonderful. I know the front subframe, rear subframe. Yeah. That's all gone. So what else? We have all the hydraulic hoses, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, hydraulic hoses. I actually stole the anti-roll bar as well.
Okay.
I stole that.
Okay, and these are hydraulic in these cars, right?
Yeah.
Sick.
Apparently they're meant to be bled, but I don't know how you do that. But
good, I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure
so will you.
We can figure it out together.
We can do it live.
We've got Sue's door, or the electrics in the door as well.
Okay. Wow, that's so much padding.
Yeah.
Everything in
here is the world's heaviest door.
Did this not have any airbags go off?
Oh yeah, I stole them.
You took an airbag.
Yeah,
okay.
I stole your curtain airbag.
And
I stole your seat airbag.
All this damage happened at 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, 30, maybe 25.
These things are just really heavy. They carry a lot of mass.
Depends what you hit.
It depends what you hit. If you go at 30 miles an hour into a brick wall, you're doing a lot better.
Yeah. Rear subframe.
Okay.
Mine.
Okay. Rear subframe.
I took
Brakes?
no standard brakes.
Oh, okay.
I took all this suspension on this side. That's
Okay.
that's now mine.
Okay, sweet.
I took your boot,
Okay, sweet.
Sue's boot, and I took Sue's boot hinge
Okay.
because my boot hinge was bent. So now, check out this.
Wow.
One grey and one burgundy. Oh, one thing I need off Sue
Yeah.
is the PlayStation 2.
There's a PlayStation 2 in here?
Yeah, so there's a PlayStation 2 which like goes down here.
It's not actually a PlayStation 2, right?
I think it's an amp.
It's like a brand new Rolls Royce that they put a 20-year-old video game system in.
When you get to this point, you'll know exactly what I mean. But
Okay, so
it looks like a
PS2.
PlayStation 2.
Okay.
And I think I did take the crash bar off. I haven't put that on
Okay.
But there's a lot of stuff we took off, and you can see why it was. Well, you'd know why it was worth it to get another car to
Right.
fix this one.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. I can
Does add
imagine.
up.
So is it really that hard to find Rolls Royce parts?
It seems
Like, this is where they
difficult.
make them, though. It's like going to America and be like, oh yeah, we can't find Mustang parts.
Yeah, it's true actually, but it is really difficult to find. I don't know why it's so. And when you do find them, they're extortionate. They're so expensive, and you'll find as well a lot of the parts which can come from a BMW and switch over. They're like 40% more expensive from Rolls Royce. So
Okay, sweet.
if you can get BMW parts, it's always better. But cross-reference them.
But everything
is
on this,
pretty
it
hard.
should be like similar to a 7 Series, but
Yeah.
it seems like everything on this car is just bigger, like by a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. That's it. We already tried to cross-reference stuff and failed. Like
Yeah, I know that you did the subframe or whatever.
Yeah, the
but
rear subframe
yeah.
was just like a
it
little
was
bit
just,
shorter.
Yeah, just a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had a nickel for every time.
I don't know. This is the good side.
Oh, this is good. Wow, this is an actual car. Look at that. I'm here, and we have not a lot of time to do this.
Yeah.
So I figure we can have a deadline for this build. Now I know Shedfest is coming up with Auto Alex, and I would like to have Sue done for Shedfest, and that is in
How
about
many weeks is that?
That's in less than 1 week.
Okay, I'll ring Mansory now.
It shouldn't be that hard. It's not going to have any Mansory parts. It's all Rolls Royce. It's fine.
Less Mansory.
Yeah.
It's so worth it. We were considering rebuilding Sue, but now I'm glad that you were doing it because I'm happy for her. But at the same time, all the stuff that we took off, we know it's going to be a nightmare to put back together.
Yeah, so all I have to do is try to find some very expensive, very rare Rolls Royce parts, then put a car back together in a matter of a few days. And while we're here, why not modify it? We'll probably modify it.
Yeah.
You know, make it a little bit better.
Oh,
We should
pop
make it-
and bang on the Rolls Royce.
We should make it sound like that. We should make it sound like that.
We need mods.
Yeah.
We need improvements. Maybe colour. Are we changing colour?
I don't know. I mean, listen. I just got here. So we can change color, maybe some wheels or whatever.
I think suggestions in the comments.
Suggestions in the comments what this thing is going to look like and what this thing is going to perform like. I don't even know how much they make. I know they have a V12 twin turbo.
Yeah.
How much horsepower do they make? Dude, like 600 something?
I think there's like 600 or something. I think on this one it's been tuned and it's 750. So like, and it's like 1,000 Newton meters of torque. So I think if we can tune Sue as well, that it'll probably get more power than this because this is like a Mansory tune, so it's got to be like warranty and that type of stuff. So
Okay, so there will be no warranty on Sue because we're building this in a matter of like 5 days. So, but we have to make it so it is safe for people. We have to make it so it's reliable and does everything a Rolls Royce should do. So I gotta get to work.
let's do. Oh, and the best thing about Sue as well, it's also completely clean title.
Wow.
Yeah, no damage, no accident,
Sweet.
nothing. So that's
Wow, except for all the parts you took off.
Yeah, there's that.
Yeah,
There's
it's
that.
okay. Yeah, it's
We'll
except
ignore
for it being a complete shell.
That's fine.
Okay, I gotta get to work. I think I might be in trouble. All right, so I have been in my hotel room the entire day looking for parts. And not only is it super, super hard to find anything, if I do find something, it is incredibly expensive. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm on eBay looking for a Rolls Royce Wraith door, and check out these prices. $6,500 with $500 shipping, that's $7 grand. That is only for the door skin. Has no door handle, no inner structure, nothing. This also needs work. It needs body work. There's scratches all over it. And the other listings aren't much better. I think I'm gonna have to spend somewhere like 6 grand just to get a door, and that doesn't include anything else. The glass itself is like $500. I mean, look at this. The closing assist for the door is 1,400 bucks. And all this stuff is in America. Weirdly enough, I can't find anything in the UK, and I certainly don't have time for it. That's not the door I want at all. So this is absolutely insane. I mean, the subframes that I need for the car, each one is like $2,000, and that doesn't include the suspension, which is another several $1,000s. So I have bitten off more than I can chew, again. But I do have maybe a solution. So my friend Sam Hard, you guys have probably seen him on the channel or my second channel. He is a really good friend of mine, and he is also a used car dealer, and he told me that maybe, if all else fails, he may have a solution for me, but he also told me that I need to keep an open mind.
Hey everyone, so I did the thing that I said I wouldn't do. I bought a parts car. It's really heavy. Oh.
Welcome everyone to my new Rolls Royce Wraith. Now I know what you're thinking. I did make fun of Mat Armstrong for doing exactly this, but this car is much different than the one he bought, because although this car does look okay from, I don't know, 10, 20 feet back, it's a little rough around the edges. Actually, it's a lot rough around the edges, because as you can tell, this car doesn't drive. It doesn't start, it doesn't run, and that's because this is one of my favorite types of cars, and that is flood damaged. Now, Sam definitely came through on this car because, I mean, honestly, I don't know what I would have done, but this was basically a pristine example until one fateful day when this went into some flood waters. Now, this car looks really, really nice. I actually do like the tan. There's a tan on wood. There's silver accents here. And it's almost too nice for me, other than the fact that past this seat cushion, you can see that there is some debris, and that's because that's where the floodwaters were, and that's why nothing on the inside of this car, the electrics, everything is dead. And unfortunately, there's something else that's dead, and that's this thing right here, this V12 with twin turbos. You can actually see some of the corrosion right here on the aluminum. This did not survive the flood, and that means that this is now a 2-ton paperweight. But it also means that since Sam hooked me up with this car, I got it at a really, really good price. So I think this car has everything we're gonna need. It has the same bodywork. Oh, that's a lot of scratches. It has the same color bodywork that Sue has, and I think we're gonna need to name this thing because we need to refer to one car versus the other. So that's Sue. This can be Sue 2 Electric Boogaloo. That's not very good. Is it, Tom?
What about Scuba Susan?
Scuba Susan. Scuba Susan is good. It doesn't really roll off the tongue, does it? Okay. How about this? It needs to be like an English name, right? Let's do Agnes.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So Agnes. So Agnes means Lamb of God, right? And this lamb is going to the slaughter. So now all we gotta do is put this thing into the shop and start taking it apart bit by bit to make that Rolls Royce whole again and make this a car that we can be proud of, and hopefully one person in the audience can drive this home. I just wanted to test this out to see if it works. Apparently if you try to grab this, it'll get scared and pop back in. Yeah, that still works, but I could still get to it. I could still, oh. Okay, well, I'm just gonna leave that there. Just gonna leave that there. So for anybody wondering, this weighs like 5,300 pounds, and in European measurements, it's like 50,000 kilos. So, yeah. Okay, let's get it up in the air. Even though the Wraith was a very heavy luxobarge, it had easily accessible pads on the side of the car, marking its lift points. It's almost like they knew these cars would be at the service center for extended periods of time. Fun trick to avoid having to push this entire car is you can actually just roll the wheel and it'll roll everything a lot smoother. So if you just do this, look at that. See? Way easier. I raised the car in the air, only mildly concerned that it was severely overloading the lift. After passing the shake test, it was safe for me to walk under the car, at which point I made some interesting discoveries. There's a lot of good and some bad. First thing is, so I got this little flashlight here. They call it a torch, by the way. A torch has fire in it. This is just it's a light. The mufflers have been deleted. So we did a muffler deletus here, but you can see that this has definitely been through some sort of, water incursion, because there's just, look at all that. That's good. That's good. That's a lot of dirt that shouldn't be there. So the sway bar here has a hydraulic element to it, and I think that just goes in and out like that, but these lines are gonna have to come off. That's gonna be fun. I don't know how to bleed that. I think the car only had like 40-something thousand miles on it when it was submerged. Engine looks a little bit on the corroded side. I mean, you can see like in there's some aluminum corrosion, very, very similar to what we saw on the P1. Why are the brakes green? Like I noticed, so there's green brakes on the back. Is this like, because I don't think the rest of them are green. What do you think, Tommy?
It's a Too Fast, Too Furious car.
It is Too Fast, Too Furious. Wait a minute. What's the color of Marcus Rashford's team? Is it green? Did Marcus Rashford own this car? Is this his other Rolls Royce? I'm gonna say that this is Marcus Rashford's car just so I can get 5 million views. Now, one thing I had to show you guys, and maybe you guys know, maybe you don't. This is the first time I've seen it in action. Take a look at this center cap. Oh, that's so cool! Now we need to get to work, and we're gonna take the wheels off, and then we're gonna try to find some tools, because I don't know where anything is in this shop, and then we're gonna start from the back to the front, and this should be fine. This should be easy. This should be really easy. What do you think, Tommy? You think we'll be done by the end of the day?
Oh, minimum, at least.
Yeah, there should be no problem. Yeah. What could go wrong? I carefully removed the expensive and fragile center caps, then took off the diamond-cut wheels, which, as you can imagine, weighed more than most mid-size sedans. Then I got to work deleting the muffler delete, removing the plastic under trays, and the rest of the rapidly rusting exhaust. And that's when I got slapped in the face with some German engineering. It's 2 steps forward and 1 step back. In order for the subframe to come out, we actually have to take this entire thing out, the struts, which are air struts, and that makes things easier. They're not hydraulic, which means that we don't have hydraulic fluid that goes everywhere. But the air struts, the top of the struts, are actually on the interior of the car, meaning that we have to now put the car on the ground, we have to put the wheels and tires back on, roll the car back a few feet, open the door, take the rear of the interior apart, meaning that the rear parcel shelf, the seats, and the C-pillars, just so we can get to those 3 bolts, take those 3 bolts out, then raise the car back up, take the wheels off, and remove some hydraulic lines, brake lines, electrical connections, and then 4 bolts, and it should all come out.
You could just jump in, like climb in, like Dukes of Hazzard.
I could just jump in. The problem is the door. See, if this was a regular door, this could open up and I can do all the work. There'd be no problem here because it's an asymmetric lift. It was not meant for doors like this. So if you open this up, there's no way I can get inside because I'm a big boy. I'm not. Well, it's a big car. This car is meant for me. It's just not meant for this country because, yeah, this is like it's literally the size of a school bus. This is more or less what a normal door, how a normal door will open, and this goes. It's like a whole nother car over here. This is so insane.
For a car that had such outstanding interior quality, it was easier than I thought to disassemble the whole thing. The rear seats only took a few 13mm bolts and some T25 Torx screws before they could be taken out of the car. But then, things got a bit more complicated. In order for me to get to the parcel shelf and the strut bolts underneath, I had to remove the side panels and the C-pillar trim, both of which were super easy to do. Once I got everything apart on both sides, I could finally do the thing I set out to do a few hours ago. With the interior work complete, for the most part, I went underneath to take the driveline apart, but got a little confused on how to describe it.
We had this conversation with the guys at dinner. This is, in the States, it's called a drive shaft, this thing right here. And then that drive shaft goes to a differential, and then that differential goes to 2 axles or half shafts. But here, they call this the prop shaft, and it doesn't make any sense for me. I guess it's an antiquated term for a boat or an airplane. This, as much as its boat-like, appearance would make you believe, this is not a boat, though. It's a car. So this is a drive shaft. So I don't.
Yeah, but here the drive shaft is the axle. They call that.
And they call the axle the drive shaft.
Yeah, so it's really confusing.
This doesn't. Yeah, I don't know.
When you be careful when you order parts.
Yeah, be careful when you order parts. Also, they invented the English language, and it seems like they
got it wrong.
Yeah, they absolutely got it wrong. I just lost all my UK audience.
I know.
Please don't unsubscribe. I need you guys.
With the prop drive axle shaft unbolted, I took the wheels off again and found more of the gift that keeps on giving.
Take a look at this. Does it remind you of the P1, Tommy?
Oh no! Oh no, dude!
Except it's not sand here, it's dirt. It's just like compacted mud everywhere.
Her name is Sandy, but no.
No, her name would be Dirty. Oh, Agnes, you dirty girl. Oh, that's... Here, smell that.
I took off the rear brake calipers by spinning them around since the brake lines were absolutely seized solid. Then got to work taking off the hydraulic lines for the sway bars. I then removed some bolts on the subframe to make way for the large main 21mm bolts that would finally free the subframe from the car. It was probably easier to lift the car up than drop the entire subframe, so I placed a few jack stands on the ground and let gravity do the work for me.
Yeah, looking good. Looks like this side's sticking. Go up a little bit more. No, it's staying.
Look at that. Almost like we know what we're doing. Hell yeah. All we have to do is do that same thing to the front, and then swap the cars, and then put everything back, and hopefully everything works. Shouldn't be too hard. Shouldn't be too hard.
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
Thanks, Angus.
Thanks, Angus.
Hello,
Introduce yourself.
I'm Matt. I'm Mat Armstrong's cameraman, and today apparently I'm supposed to be helping Freddie work on this, and I have no mechanical ability whatsoever, so I don't know why he's asked for my help. Did you even ask for my help, or did I just turn up?
You just turned up, but I'm really glad you did, because you were around when Matt took apart everything. Well, Matt and Tony took apart everything, and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what you guys took off, and even though we did talk about it, but like it's just seeing it in the metal is a lot different. Now, priority number one is now to move this car. It's on subframes from a BMW 7 Series?
7 Series, I think, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those are not stock wheels.
No, they are.
They are stock wheels.
They're stock, yeah.
7 Series comes with those.
No, the Rolls Royce Wraith.
Oh, the
comes with
Rolls,
it as well.
okay,
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
This was the LX, right?
Yeah.
The Rolls Royce Wraith LX.
Yeah.
In hindsight, removing 2 of the Wraith's wheels probably wasn't a great idea in terms of mobility. It took all of the guys at Mallory Performance to move this car 2.5 feet. But with the car finally on the lift, we turned our attention to the car's large and very dented fuel tank. I figured we should work on both cars at the same time so we don't forget any steps in installation. But that was interrupted as we had a lovely surprise guest.
My name's Sam. I'm going to be the host for the duration of the repair of this Lamborghini. It's actually a Rolls Royce, just the wrong garage.
So great news. Sam from Hard Up Garage.
Garage. There you go. Garage.
Oh, you have to say it like your friend. Garage. So Sam from Hard Up Garage has come to try to help us take apart this Rolls Royce and rebuild that Rolls Royce. And now we have all hands on deck, which should mean everything goes faster, except we're all just gonna stand around and talk for most of the day. So that means that we're just gonna probably take a break in 5 minutes, and then we're gonna get tired and probably do this tomorrow.
The plastic fuel tank was remarkably old school. It had some metal straps at the bottom, a handful of electrical connections at the top, and 2 hoses at the side. After we took it out, drained it, and cleaned the inside of any flood damage, we removed the very full tank that we had just realized was way more valuable than we thought.
This is Marcus Rashford's fuel.
Imagine if he doesn't put premium in his Rolls Royce.
We should test it.
I mean, he was only doing 30 miles an hour. You probably don't need premium.
That's true, yeah. We've got Marcus Rashford's fluids.
We should auction off.
We should bottle
Marcus
off in
Rashford.
10 mil.
We should bottle it up.
Yeah.
Bottle it up.
Can you sell just fuel on the market?
I don't see why. I mean, it's a cologne.
Ah, yeah.
Ode to Rashford.
Yeah.
Ode to Marcus.
With Sue in just the right position to delete her ill-fitting subframe, we unbolted the 3 slapped-in bolts and raised the car to get ready to install the right parts.
Aha!
Hello.
Look at that.
Hi! That's not bad. That's not too bad at all.
Go on.
So this is for everybody that got in the comments and said I said aluminium or aluminum. You can say it either way. So if you're over here, you can say aluminium. If you're in the States, you say aluminum.
So it's like when you're in Germany,
Yeah.
you say Porsche.
Yeah.
Whereas here you say Porsche.
Yeah, so if you're in Germany, you say, you know, we were on vacation, and then if you're over here, they say, the war, you know? 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, that'll work.
No problems, just solutions in this camp.
We've got turn.
We haven't got to go 180.
That is the idea of a differential.
I'm gonna die.
Okay, watch your head, watch your head.
Willie's got up.
Shimmy, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah. Drunk. Morning.
These aren't in the right positions. So.
They're not.
They're not. If we lift it up, Tommy, do you wanna?
Yeah, we might need to wrap Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One.
1, 2, 3.
Nope.
No. What about,
Out.
yeah, out.
Let's get the back in place.
Yeah.
Back a little bit. On then.
We're on.
Yeah, one.
Yeah, we're on right here.
Okay.
How is that on?
Lower that on.
No, you got to put yours right here.
On the subframe.
Okay, ready?
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put it more like lift it up. Put it up. Lift your side up.
Yeah.
There you go. That's it. There
Ready?
You go. Yeah.
Yep.
Lower down. That's better. There we go.
Perfect.
That front one.
Okay.
Yes. Smash that.
That went very well.
That was good.
All
I
right.
don't think it's lined up, but we got into it.
Everybody put your buttholes back in.
Yep.
There is something incredibly satisfying about mating a major component of the car to the chassis, and this was no different. After some wiggling and finagling, the subframe and rear suspension went into sue the sacrifice like it was meant for it.
All right, hopefully we're gonna bring the car up and the subframe goes with it. 3, 2, 1, go. Look at that! Are we good?
Yeah, it's going up.
Woo! So we are now, this makes us officially Rolls Royce Master Techs. So if anybody needs Rolls Royce work, just hit up Matt right there, because I don't live here and I can't technically, so technically I'm here as a tourist. I'm not supposed to be working. And these are not my work gloves, these are my tourist gloves.
That's why me and Sam are here, to do all the work and make him look like he's working.
Yeah. I mean, it's also because I'm a YouTuber and I don't work, so.
You don't really show me.
Since this was a German car, we used the German standard of Gutentite to do up the bolts. But just for good measure, we used a torque wrench to check our work. We reused Sue's original brake rotors because they were loads better than the ones on Agnes. The heat shields went on next, followed by the rear brake calipers. It was all looking great, but we still had quite a journey ahead of us.
Okay, so this is what's going to separate the men from the boys. We now have to take off the front subframe because the front subframe on that car was, well, that was from the Rashford car, and we know what happened. 30 miles an hour. That it destroys cars. So what we'll do, take off everything here, then see what we have to do. I know that there's a lot of hydraulic lines and hoses and all that stuff. Steering rack has to come out. The engine has to be supported from the top.
Yeah.
So we have an engine hoist, not like an engine stand thing from the top. So we'll do that. And then once it's supported from the top, then we can disconnect everything and then basically do the same thing as we did in the rear, except this is going to be way more complicated.
And the good thing about this one is everything is on this bolted to the subframe, so hopefully we'll be able to leave all our anti-roll bars, or what do you call these? Sway bars,
yes.
Sway bars.
They're anti-sway bars, anti-roll bars.
Should be able to leave it all in place, the legs, everything intact, right?
Yeah, we should, and then we might just have to disconnect it from. So this is this is like a double wishbone suspension, and then we'll lower everything down, and it's going to weigh 1,000,000 tons.
Yeah.
And then that's okay because
we got guns.
Because we got guns. I brought, you guys don't have guns here, but I brought them. Look at the. I'm tired. We have graciously been given this lift by Mallory Performance. So thank you so much. If anybody wants their car tuned or worked on, they are fantastic. They're in Leicester if you're in the UK. But they can't give us this for forever. So we do only have like a day. So we've gotten a lot of progress done. The rear end of the car is done. To make that car roll, we just need to get this off, and then I did buy some dollies. Hopefully they'll be here by tomorrow, so we can actually take this car off and then put it in the dumpster wheelie bin.
Wheelie bin.
Yeah, the wheelie bin. So we can take this dumpster fire into an actual dumpster. Let's begin.
Let's do it. We need a gun. This is going to take forever.
Not only does the front subframe house the steering, hydraulic, and cooling components of the car, but the engine sits on it, making this job extra tricky. To make sure the engine and transmission don't literally fall out of the car, we attached a support bar across the top of the engine. And with the engine securely in place, we removed the weird green brakes, the engine mounts, and took out 2 of the 6 subframe bolts to make everything easier to unbolt on the ground. And with the suspension, steering, and last annoying hydraulic hoses disconnected, it was the moment of truth.
Okay, we're good. I think.
What about the other side?
Woo! Look at that!
Would you look at that?
Hell yeah!
Okay.
That wasn't that hard. It really wasn't that hard. All right, now we have to do that all over again.
Who's up for round 2?
Installation was reverse of removal, except for the fact that we had to remove a bracket for the engine mount because Rashford's 30-mile-an-hour accident revealed some more hidden damage. We got some more dudes together to carry the subframe over, and just like last time, we lowered the car into place and shimmied the subframe until it lined up and didn't pinch anything too badly.
Sam has elected to be under the car while we are lowering it down. That is his choice. Do not try this at home. We are professionals. I'm not a professional, that's why I'm not under the car. Never do this. Never. It's just a bad idea. Don't do this. The reason why he's under there is because he's trying to align the steering shaft. So I'm going to use this very precariously.
And down an inch. Okay, again. All right. Another inch?
Another inch?
Yeah. Okay. Okay, it's in the keyway. So I'm happy with that. We can play with that in a minute. But I've got it like a centimetre in.
Okay.
When it's completely levelled out, we'll be able to get the rest in, so that's fine.
Okay, sweet.
All right, now we need to... Thank you, Dad.
Come on, man.
Let's go.
Come on, we never leave a man behind. Come on.
It's gonna be okay.
Okay.
Oh, this is absolutely fantastic. Go again. And again. All right.
We're locked.
You know what's about to happen, right?
We're going to have lunch. Oh no, it's going to go all the way up.
We're gonna go all the way.
The jack stand should stay down and the car shot. You ready?
3, 2, 1.
Sorry.
Do it.
Yada, yada, yada. Hell yeah. We're pretty good at this, you know.
Torque up these bolts and then start tightening everything. Put wheels on. I mean, we gotta bleed the brakes, put brakes on.
Calipers, brake lines,
And then we can see.
sensors, then we see if it starts.
Yeah, we can see if it starts and rolls.
Royce.
This is awesome. Rolls Royce. That's right. That's correct. Right.
Only here for one day, guys. Thanks for watching.
Okay.
And this marked the home stretch, the culmination of what was a pretty eventful few days of wrenching, but we were only on the mechanical portion of the build. I still had no idea if there were any issues with the car's complicated electronics that would turn this 2-ton barge into a 2-ton paperweight. So we had to find out if the car ran.
Right now we have the coolant. No, there's no coolant in the system. Oh, stuff is doing stuff.
I'm not going to tighten it up just in case we've got to whip it off, right?
Okay. Here's the problem. Getting in the car. Getting in the car is going to be an issue. What I'm going to do is from this side, I'm going to straddle the center console and then press the brake and then press the start button.
Look how he's just straddled the center console.
Okay. Oh, is anything pissing out at the?
No, quick go. Go.
I'm going to say no, but carry on, let's go.
Okay. All right, and.
I bet you could put 20p coin on the engine.
Get a hole in the middle, apparently, man. That's amazing. I have a lot of stuff that's broken here.
Chassis. Boy, it sounds sick.
Oh yeah.
Have you got an exhaust on it or not?
It has a muffler delete, so yes.
It sounds pretty good. It sounds like a tiger, but like a tame tiger.
Yeah.
You know, like if a tiger had a sock in the mouth.
Dude, this is awesome. So now the car runs. It didn't run before, and all we have to do is put everything back. But dude, Sam, thank you so much.
That was
No
a
worries,
pretty fast turnaround, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was fast.
We did like 3-hour turnaround on the front subframe.
Yeah. So Sam, actually, he drove here 3.5 hours. So now he needs to turn into a pumpkin and leave. So we're gonna say goodbye to Sam. Sam.
Bye, Sam.
Goodbye for now. See you next time.
I love you, buddy.
Love you, dude.
Yeah. Thank you.
Next time.
Yeah. I think this is a good time to end the video because we now have a running Rolls Royce Wraith. We have the brakes on. We have the subframes on, and I think now we just put the wheels on, we put all the interior back, put the front end, rear end, and then we'll have like a running car. But I think in the next episode, we'll do all that and maybe even go on the dyno.
Sounds easy. It sounds so easy.
At that rate, I'm probably going to be back.
We don't have any time to lose. Now, behind me is the car that I've been working on turned around, and we turned it around because we're going to be working from the back to the front of this car. Now, you need a bunch of stuff to make this a Rolls Royce. You need the trunk lining, and I know we have a lot of other things that we need to put back on this car. But one thing that's really, really important are the brakes. And the reason why this is here is because we're charging the battery while we can do the brake bleeding process, which is actually way, way, way more complicated than you think. Now up here is the business end of the brake system. It's a little weird to me because it's on the other side of the car than what I'm used to, but the brake master cylinder is right here, and we're about to do a brake bleeding process. Now essentially what it means is that there's hydraulic fluid that goes from the master cylinder, basically where the pedal meets your foot. From there, the fluid has to go down into the brake calipers, they compress, and then that's what stops the car. Right now, we don't have any pressure in there because there's a ton of air in the lines because we took off all of the brakes. And in order to get all the air out of the system, we use this guy. Matt let me borrow this. It's an easy bleed. Easy bleed. They call it Mr. Push. Don't know why they call it that, but I think it's because it pushes all the air out of the system. And I've never seen a system like this because instead of using shop air or something regulated like that, they use the air from your tire. And you connect this, and then you put this into the brake system, and then it pressurizes stuff, and then you crack the bleed nipple open. It's actually a really old school way of doing things, but we're just doing this just to get the initial pressure for the system because this car is very, very complicated. And in order to make this a completely OEM install, we have my friend Florin here. Now, Florin does not work for Rolls Royce. He does not work for BMW. He, out of the kindness of his heart, actually has a BMW and Rolls Royce scanner, and he owns a company called Signature Ride. It's a car service. I drove in his Audi and then his newer BMW 7 Series, and it was fantastic. Very reasonably priced, and if you have to get anywhere on time, he's always punctual. The cars are looking great. They smell great. I will put all the links in the video description. But Florin, since we started talking and we got to know each other because he drove me actually from London to Manchester, which is about 4 hours. We got to know each other pretty well, and he just told me, hey, I actually have a BMW scanner that can bleed the brakes. And what the scanner does is it pulses the ABS motor and makes sure that there's no air pockets in that. So first we're gonna bleed it the old school way and then the new school way, and hopefully this barge will have some brakes.
The process for bleeding the brakes on any car is quite simple. You want to take all the air out of your system because air can be compressed, but hydraulic fluid can't be. But oddly enough, compressed air is actually necessary for this bleeding process to work. I connected the bleeder's air line to my tire, which had around 30 psi or 2 bar of pressure. This pressurizes one side of the system and pushes the air trapped in the brake lines out of the bleeders on the calipers at the other end of the system. Starting at the rear left side and going clockwise, as per the Rolls Royce factory instructions, I made sure no air, at least initially, was trapped in the lines. This was a very rewarding process.
So bleeding brakes is among my favorite lines of work because not only do you get drenched in brake fluid, like I try to be as clean as I can, but I'm sort of a clumsy person. Bottles fall, leaks happen, and then you never get this smell of brake fluid off, and you can't get it on paint because then it starts eating the paint. Yeah, it's just a terrible, terrible thing.
With the first round of bleeding complete, we were now free to do the fancy bleeding, which meant Florin had to activate the car's anti-lock brake system pump with his fancy pants computer, and that meant that it would make a few interesting noises.
You want me to open?
Yes.
Okay. There we are.
I went around the car again, opening and closing the bleeder screws on each caliper, and listening to that mechanical screeching for way too long. But as it turned out, it wasn't a total waste of time.
All right, so how does the brake feel?
Rock hard. Definitely rock hard.
That was really easy. All we did was put brake fluid everywhere, and now I need a shower.
Brakes?
We got brakes.
That's always good news.
I mean, in theory we do.
That's better than ours then, because we don't have brakes.
We're basically a Rolls Royce service center now.
At this point, yeah, because every single ramp has got a Rolls Royce in it. This ramp has, that ramp has, ours has. We're professionals. We do this as a...
Yeah, we do. This is what we do for a living.
Yeah.
Okay, we repair Rolls Royces and modify them.
Only Wraiths.
Only Wraiths, yeah. Wraithsonly.com. Okay, first drive with some actual brakes. Let's see what happens. Brakes are holding. Ah! Got brakes. Look at that. Almost like we know what we're doing. If I just give it a little. Is there a way I can turn traction control off?
How's your coolant temp?
My coolant temp is all the way at the floor because we don't have any coolant. But let's see if the brakes work. I think we're good. All right, onto the body of this car, because we need to do quite a lot to the body of this car. Good car. Hey everyone, so I have a bit of news. Yesterday I woke up and had a pretty high fever, and for the last 2 days I've been in my hotel room fighting off that fever. Now, Tommy actually brought me some meds, so that was really nice of him. I am feeling better today, but that does mean that our 4 or 5 day build is now down to a 1 day build. We have one more day tomorrow, which means all hands on deck. We have to get this car done inside and out because Shedfest is coming up, and also I want to see if I can do something fun with it before we go to Shedfest. So fingers crossed we can make this work and I don't wake up tomorrow feeling worse, but I really want to get this done, especially because I want to share this all with you guys. It's a really, really special project. So welcome back to the Rolls Royce Wraith. This is quite a bit later, and Shedfest unfortunately has came and went. I did a lot of stuff off camera, actually not really off camera. You guys will see it on my second channel, the crazy week I've had. But this thing has actually got some work done, and that's all thanks to Tony and Matt, well, Mat Armstrong's cameraman, Matt, because they managed to put on the trunk or boot and the door, but the door has a little bit of an oopsie.
So we've got the door off of the Rashford car, which is over there, and put it onto Sue because the paint matches, because obviously this is the original paint, compared to Agnes. What did they call it, Agnes? Yeah, why did they call it that?
Who named that?
Freddie.
Did it? Oh, perhaps that's an American thing then.
Maybe.
Is it? Yeah, maybe. Or it might be because he was sick.
Poor Agnes. She's looking as bad as Sue did when Freddie first came and obviously started working on her. But this is the bolt that we need to hold the electrics into place. Well, it looks OEM minus the side skirt and the front bumper and the rear bumper.
There.
Oh yeah, it is. Ooh. That wasn't like that before, was it?
So this is Sue's original door. The paint matches 100%, other than the fact that the paint has actually been, well, the side has been repainted. I think there was a little bit of a side swipe or something in this car's past. And there's also quite a big sizable dent in here because when the guys were installing it, mistakes happen and they put a little bit of a crease in there. But that's not a big deal because we can get a paintless dent repair guy out here to fix this. But what I have to do right now is fit everything up with the trunk, make sure the trunk lines up properly and closes right. Then I have to do the back of the rear bumper, then everything behind the rear bumper, and then put the rear bumper on, put the interior in, and then focus on the front of the car. So first things first, I have to take the lock cylinder out of this car. Well, it's already been taken out of the car, and put the original lock cylinder for Sue, because if we swap everything over, and if I can't open this thing with a key, if the battery ever dies, then that is gonna be a problem. So that lock cylinder is actually not too bad to remove. All we have to do is take apart these 2 bolts right here, and then we should be able to swap them, and then we're gonna be putting together the boot lid. It's really weird saying that because boots go on your feet.
Now, it's one thing to put a Rolls Royce back together, it's a completely different thing to put a Rolls Royce back together that you didn't take apart yourself. When trying to install this boot panel, I ran into several surprises from the previous owner of the car. And no, I'm not talking about Matt. There were broken clips, egregious use of silicone, and as hard as I looked, it was missing pieces, so I decided to borrow some parts from the Rashford car that probably wouldn't be missed.
The whole thing looks way more scary and way more gnarly, but I have to do it. The whole point was to do it without the scaffolding. I'm really nervous for this moment. It's 3 miles an hour. Let's do this.
I turned my attention towards Agnes to remove what was left of the rear end. This meant taking off the rear bumper cover, which was held on with a few fasteners, and then I just pulled it off the car. Then I went to work removing all the wiring, hoses, brackets, and hardware that was underneath. And installation was reverse of removal, and I was very glad that it was still fresh in my head. But I did forget to take the trunk vent off Agnes, so I went back to transplant it on Sue. Now, if anybody is curious about what this part does, it acts as a sort of one-way valve that allows pressure out when you close the trunk, but doesn't let water or the elements in. And with that part finally in, I had a decision to make.
So we have two bumpers, and to the untrained eye, these bumpers look basically identical, but they're not. So if you can see, I don't know if you can see in the sunlight, but there is a slight amount more flake in this than there is in this. And even though the color is exactly the same, sometimes they have slightly different hues in the factory on the day of painting. So you can see right now the sun just came out to make my point. You can see right here, it's really flaky. It's almost like a bass boat. And this is more subdued. Now, I have no idea if this has been repainted. I wager it probably has been. I'm not sure, maybe both of them have been, but we're gonna put Sue's original rear bumper back on, which is this guy right here. And then I think we're gonna be done with the back end of the car. We just have to put all the trunk trim back in, and then I'm getting real excited because then we get to go into the interior, put the interior back in, and then we're gonna have like a Rolls Royce that actually feels like a Rolls Royce on the inside. Then we have to follow that up with the outside, and then we got a running Rolls Royce.
I took care not to scratch anything on the bumper because I wanted this Rolls Royce to look every bit of the $350,000 car it once was. But after plugging in all the sensors and aligning the bumper, I had to make that door dent go away. And luckily for me, I had just the guys for the job.
Welcome everyone. We are about to do something really, really fun because we are gonna take out this dent that was lovingly put there by Tony and Matt. Now we have Taylor and Jensen from a company called Auto Dents, and they do paintless dent removal. And the idea is that they take away dents without having to paint it. It's really, really simple. So they're gonna use some glues and some rods and all this other stuff to make this dent go away and make this Rolls Royce look really, really cool.
For this, we'll use hot glue. So we'll stick the glue on the panel, and as it cools, it bonds, and then you give it a pull. So you'll work the dent outwards.
Okay.
And then with hammers, we'll tap it back flat. And it sounds easier than it is.
I like hammers. I like. I mean, I could get a. I can make more dents for you. You guys want to stay for a while?
Paintless dent repair is more of an art than a science. You have to be forceful enough to move metal, but delicate enough not to scratch the paint on top of it. It was certainly a challenge getting the glue to stick, as it was unseasonably warm, and we had to resort to some unconventional methods of cooling down the panel so the glue, which was meant for a specific temperature range, could work. They spent some time meticulously working the dent out, but then the other shoe dropped.
As you can see, the dent is almost gone, but the guys have given me a little bit of bad news. We're gonna have to take the door off again. So I've actually never done this, and it doesn't seem too hard because there's two hinges and then one little 8mm bolt, and that keeps the wiring harness from going in the car. So take that off, take the two hinges off, and then this should be nice and light. I mean, these cars are known to be light, so what could go wrong? I mean, we already got the dent guys here. It's fine. If we put more dents in it, it's more content for them.
And if you think taking the door off a Rolls Royce is difficult, well, you'd be wrong, because it's quite simple. Just disconnect one wiring harness from the door, then two bolts, and hopefully you have a friend with a strong back willing to hold the door up, or else you're gonna have a very bad time. With the doors safely on the stand, the experts could finally get to the dent from every angle. That was until they got smacked in the face with some good old-fashioned British engineering.
This dent is nearly out. Now, this is not an exact science, right? Like there's some stuff that, can't be done unless we're taking like literally the entire like structure of the door apart. And we ran into some issue up here. Now this, you can see that the dent is like, all this is pretty flat, but up here, I mean, honestly, I can't.
Yeah,
I
there's
can't even
still
see it.
slightly a dent up here where the crash bar is underneath.
Yeah, there's like this big structural piece all the way across the door, and there's no way to really get to that. And the glue that we're using, I mean, it's still like...
Yeah, it's pulled the majority out, but where the crash bar is, it's a lot stronger, and the glue just can't pull it out.
Dude, I'm looking at it. I'm looking at where this was, and this is 99% better. Like you can see a small, like a tiny divot right here, but it's like it's totally fine. So, dude, I think you did a great job. I think you did a fantastic job. There's no crease anymore. Now we just have to be really careful in putting it back. And actually, this looks a lot cleaner than down there. Look right here. You can see all the ripples in the paint. And that's because this has been repainted. So we're gonna have to basically cut and polish this whole thing, and then it should be good to go. Also, this is a car that, you know, it's a driver. It's not like a pristine show car, even though it's gonna look really nice. But this looks like 10 times better. So, dude, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We should put some more dents in it just so you guys can like be like, all right, no more dents.
As long as it's not there. Anywhere else will do.
Yeah, wonderful. No, you guys did a fantastic job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now I have to figure out how to put this door back on the car.
I'll leave you to that.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Awesome.
With the door ready and dent-free, we installed Sue's passenger side door for the 3rd time in her life. And since the bodywork was nearly complete, that meant it was time to clean her up.
You seem very happy to be doing this. I don't see a constant stream. Do you have a...
I've got a problem with that, yeah.
Got some blockage?
A little bit, yeah. It's a bit of a problem for me, yeah.
So this is Chris Slix. You guys might have seen his YouTube videos if you're from the UK. And what's your percentage of US audience?
About 20, 30.
20, 30?
Yeah,
okay.
there's a few.
Okay, so if you're in the US, you've probably also seen his YouTube videos, but if you haven't, then Chris does a lot of really cool rebuilding stuff on his channel. He has an AMG GT, he has a BMW X3M.
That's the one.
And a lot of other cool cars. I actually took a ride in your X3M, and it was very fast, and it might have made me sick. So Chris, in a previous life before YouTube, he actually used to wash cars. He did a lot of detailing, really high-end stuff. So I said, hey Chris, would you like to come here and clean my Rolls Royce? It's very clean already. I mean, just take a look at it. It's clean. So that was a lie.
There's nothing else I wanted to do more with my Wednesday evening.
Yes. So actually it's Thursday. It's Thursday.
Well, that's why I don't want to do it today. I wanted to do it yesterday.
That is true. That is true. So I also told Chris to come last week, but then I got sick, and then I had to go make a 10,000 mile round trip around the world. But it doesn't matter. Here we are, and we only have today and tomorrow. You turn into Pumpkin tomorrow, so you can't be here.
Yep.
So I have 2 days to finish this car, and then it has to be like finished, done. So I'm going to be putting the car together while you are washing it.
I will help you as much as I can.
Okay,
but
wonderful.
we're only human.
We are only human, except for you. You are made of steel. Bong, bong, bong. And I am going to... We're going to finish this thing. We're going to finish this thing, and it's going to look awesome.
In 2 days.
In 2 to 3 working weeks with no bank holidays.
Yes.
All right, we gotta wash this car. Can this go any faster?
To be honest with you, mate, look.
Is that really it?
Do you know the same with detailing? You can't rush perfection. And that's
You absolutely can rush. We need to rush perfection.
And that's why I can't rush filling this bucket.
Now, while most people have washed a car at some point, detailing a car requires some professional knowledge, some choice equipment, and a lot of elbow grease. The first step before any sort of detail is always to decontaminate the car with a pressure washer and foam cannon to make sure no loose dirt, grit, or oils are left on the paint. While a lot of people would stop here on their Sunday wash, we were just getting started. After drying the car, then clay barring it, Chris lightly sprays a degreaser on the paint and wipes off any residue with a clean microfiber towel. He then tries a test spot with a small polisher using his least aggressive compound to make sure the paint isn't heating up and he's getting the desired effect. What polishing does is it levels the paint by taking off a very small oxidized layer, restoring shine and depth. But in the process, it also creates tiny scratches that will then need to be filled in later with a sealant or coating to make the paint look better than new. Chris broke out the big boy polisher and went to town on Sue's nearly decade-old paint. And I went to town taking the front end off Agnes because we were still missing quite a lot to make Sue whole again. I was gonna help tag team the detailing with Chris, but it seemed like he was a one-man detailing army.
Dude, this looks fantastic.
Let's not look too hard at this side. This is your side.
Oh, this is my side?
Yeah.
Okay, are we
remember that.
Are we doing that now?
No.
So this is not perfect, but this looks so much better than it did. I mean, from right here, you can see this is like a mirror shine. Now, there are scratches, there are imperfections. It's not a perfect paint job because, well, I mean, honestly, this would need a respray or at least a sand down and buff and like
be a week and a bit's work, wouldn't it, to get this looking? But it's
dude, it already looks like
it's a quick lift. I think we've done good. For a night's work, it's you've got big bang for a buck.
Sue got a little bit of a facelift tonight.
Sue has done her makeup and she's looking pretty good to me.
So we got that. We got the front bumper done. What are you doing now?
We're just getting it ready for like a quick coat because needs some protection now. Like she can't go out without a bit of
concealer and foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what she's gonna have.
Awesome. So we have some protectant there. What's all the products that you've been using today?
So we've had a bunch of I think I pronounced it right, the Zviza. Say it with me, Zviza.
Zviza.
Something like that. Yeah. They've all been from a company called My Car Cleaning, which are based in the UK. So
awesome.
They've sent everything out we've needed to polish it, all the pads, compounds, everything apart from the machines, basically. And I think they have a discount code for us, which I can confirm to you at a later date, and you can put on screen right now for everyone that wants to go and grab themselves.
So if there's a discount code on screen, then go to that. It's going to be in the link in the video description below. That's fine. So what we have to do now is you have to go home.
At some point tonight, I do have to go home, but we've got to finish it tonight. So
well, I mean, I think it's pretty much look, it's done. This is done. What I think we should do, since I spent a lot of time taking apart Agnes over there, and I actually got, I got a shower and coolant just now, and it is past midnight, and what I think I should do is go home, shower, because I smell really bad, and then I will come here in the morning, and then put everything on the front end, button this thing up, then we have to do some wiring work, we have to do some interior work, but I think tomorrow is going to be the day that we finish off everything on Sue.
You finish everything on Sue.
When I say we, I mean the royal we. I mean we as in me. So, okay, all right. I'm gonna go get some sleep, like 5 minutes, and then we're gonna go and again I'm gonna go and finish this car tomorrow. I am super, super excited. Also, check that out. I'm also using the 2-bucket method, but none of my stuff got in the buckets. It just went all over me and all over the floor. This is my favorite thing to do when it's cold, dark outside, and very, very late. Clean up coolant from your body and your pants, and it looks like I went to the bathroom on myself. That's great. Welcome, everyone, to the next day. Sue is up here and about to get all of the cooling stuff in the front transplanted from Agnes, and then I put in some coolant and hopefully don't take a bath like I did last night. And then I think we should be able to run the car for a while, make sure the coolant's all burped, and then we can put it all together and it's done. This is weird. This is weird, having a car nearly done and it's only been a few days. This is odd. I should do this more often.
The front end of a Rolls Royce Wraith can only be described as a series of brackets, meaning that it was quite a fiddly process. But that process was quickly interrupted by some amazing news.
Now we're making some pretty good progress. I am filling out the front end of this thing, and it's actually, I mean, I don't want to tell tales out of school here, but it's actually a little bit easier than I thought. Even considering that this is all BMW stuff, yes, there is a little bit of fiddliness and, you know, things that you have to finagle. I know that you guys like when I use that word, but it is honestly really, really nice to work on. And it goes to show that this is a car that has been, well, they spared no expense when making this car and engineering the car, because everything up to this point has been a dream to work on. But another thing that I wanted to show you guys, another dream of mine, is that these wheels, as good as they look, they could look a lot better. And I think with Sue, she needs to have a big transformation, and we have a big transformation right now. So the guys are outside. I want to show you something really cool. Now, if you're familiar with Mat Armstrong's channel, you'll know the name Wheelmania, but if you're not, these guys are the guys to go to when it comes to wheels in the UK. They have everything for nearly every car, and it always looks good. They never miss. So these are the Wheelmania guys, and these are the wheels. Oh yeah. These are Judd wheels. They are 22 inches, so they're a little bit bigger than factory, and they look fantastic. Not only is this the multi-spoke wheel that I wanted, they come with some really good Continental Sport Contact 7 tires, brand new, and just look at how good these look. I can't wait to see what these look like on Sue. Let's get them on. Let's get it on. Also, take a look at the center caps here. Look at that.
What can I say? The Wheelmania guys were absolutely amazing. Now, it's not rocket science to put wheels on, but it is an art form to make sure aftermarket wheels look as good as possible, which means a lot of measuring and using things like high-quality hub-centric spacers, longer wheel bolts, and a torque wrench.
And would you take a look at that? This is fantastic. These Judd 22-inch wheels, these multi-spoke wheels, look so cool on Sue. I mean, just look at the stance. Now, the stance is not finalized because we have a few things to do with the computer. We have to make sure it's all level. It's actually sitting a little bit higher on that side, but that's okay because, oh, buddy, this is fantastic. I could not have asked for a better set of wheels. Sue is almost ready to hit the streets. So thank you so much, guys. I mean, you have saved the day, and this car is looking fantastic. So where are you guys located?
Birmingham.
Birmingham, okay.
It's on the Coventry Road in Sheldon.
Okay.
Just by Birmingham Airport.
Wonderful. Okay, so if anybody wants to go see you guys, get some wheels for your car, where should they go?
www.wheelmania.co.uk.
Sweet. Awesome. So I'll definitely have all that stuff in the link in the video description below. You guys have been awesome, but I need to get back to work.
Putting together Sue's cooling system was pretty straightforward. The feed and return lines only go one way, and each hose connects with a satisfying click, so you know it's sealed all the way. There's another coolant reservoir behind the front fender, wing, and then the front bumper went straight on. And that's when things took a turn.
Welcome everyone to 1 in the morning. I have been at work for quite a long time, even though it doesn't really seem like it on camera. Now, we got the bumper on. Bumper looks really, really good. The only thing is, this is the bumper from Agnes and this is Sue. And if you notice, the color here, there is a flop, but the color here is not exactly right. Like this is slightly darker. Actually on camera you can see that there's quite a big difference. But if you come over here, there's less of a difference because this entire side has been painted. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to see Sue's original bumper and match up the colors like that, because I mean, if the car was painted, at least they blended it so the paint would all match. Now, since it's 1 in the morning, the bumper was all the way up there. And as you can see, I used a ladder. I put a ladder up there and I moved the bumper. And as soon as I moved the bumper fell onto some other parts. And then the parts fell, and then the parts fell onto some other parts. And unfortunately, this is what happened to our front valence. It just broke. So it just snapped right in two. And this is why you don't do sketchy stuff at 1 in the morning. So now the nose of the car, I mean, it's gonna need a nose job. So what I'm thinking we can do instead of repairing this, because honestly, this was already repainted and I looked at the color between this, and this doesn't match. So it wouldn't have matched in any case, but we do have the nose cone from Agnes. And what I think is we do the nose cone in silver and then we do the hood in silver. We take Agnes's hood. Now, the rest of the car won't be silver, the top won't be silver, but that's okay because, I mean, the Rashford car had a two-tone like that, so maybe that'll work, or maybe I'm just really, really tired and I probably shouldn't be making these decisions right now, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. I didn't get hurt, the parts just did, so tomorrow morning, that's when I'm gonna make the decision of what to do, because we need to get this car done like ASAP, and I want this car looking as good as humanly possible.
With Agnes's chrome grille now firmly on Sue, I fitted the silver nose cone because it was my only option at that point. Sue was coming together, minus one small piece.
So the engine bay and the front end of the car is completely done, but we're still missing one piece, and that is the engine cover. I believe this just goes on like this. Looks pretty good. So it's a few minutes later, and now we're on to bleeding the cooling system. You can see I've already put some vacuum into the system, and we are just testing the system to make sure that there's no air leaks at all. The idea is that when you put coolant into a system that doesn't have any coolant in it, it can create air bubbles, and you need to evacuate those air bubbles before you put the coolant in. So that's why this guy is super necessary. So I used just a little air compressor that's down here, and we ran some compressed air through here. Now we're waiting to make sure that there's no air in the system, then we can backfill it with coolant, and then, in theory, it should run, drive, keep temperature, and do everything a Rolls Royce should do. Fingers crossed. Now, before we put the car on the ground, I wanted to fix a few things, namely this wiring. Now, I know I couldn't do a project without having some wiring work, but this isn't that bad. So when Sue was Sue the Sacrifice, they took off, well, they actually cut off this part of the wiring harness and spliced it into the Rashford car. So thankfully, Agnes had the wiring and it doesn't look bad at all. There's no corrosion, which is really, really wild considering that it's a flood damaged car, but all this stuff was weather sealed, so that's not actually that bad. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut off this little harness here. There's about 5 wires, and then I'm gonna use these guys, which are solder seal connectors, and I'm just going to heat shrink them and then put some tape around it and then call it a day.
It certainly wasn't a P1 wiring harness, but it still was a finicky job. And since it was in a place that would likely get exposed to the elements, I needed to have it completely waterproof and insulated. And after that was done, I turned my attention to the 3,000 plastic panels that I needed to install under the car. With them fastened with what seemed like an infinite number of rubber clips and nuts, it was finally time for Sue to see the sunlight.
All right, now I do have to say, this looks fantastic. The reason why it's so high is because I put the suspension all the way up just to make sure that everything works, but I moved it out here. The engine looks fantastic. honestly, this gray, the silver, looks really, really good. I don't know if that's going to be the final sort of paint color for this car, because if you close this, everything shuts properly, but there's a discrepancy in the color here, so that might need to change. Now, another thing that is going to need to change is this, the fact that we have no side skirt on it right here, and we still have to do something with the door, because if you open up the door, all this still needs to be installed, all this still needs to be installed, and all the interior needs to be installed. But there is a little bit of an issue right now, and that is with me. Now, this car was a lot of fun to put together, but it's still not done. And I'm certainly not gonna give away a car that looks like this. But in the next episode, I think that's where we're gonna do some finishing touches on this car. Then we'll probably do a dyno run. We'll do a nice long drive, and maybe some modification. But for me, right now, I actually have to go back home to Florida, so you're not gonna see the next episode until several weeks from now. But right now, this thing looks amazing. But I should probably show Matt, because he hasn't seen the car yet. Actually, before that, let's make sure that this thing doesn't overheat, because that was the whole point of us doing all of the stuff to the cooling system. So we got the key right here, then hold start. Still starts up. It's gonna have a ton of faults and things that we need to clear because half the interior is missing, so that is understandable. But it sounds good. It definitely needs some fuel. Wow, okay. So I definitely shouldn't rev it like this. Ooh, that sounds good. All right, let's wait for it to warm up, and hopefully it doesn't burn down. Also, let's lower it down just a little bit. You can see right here, just press that button all the way down, and it will start lowering, and hopefully it shouldn't look too cattywampus. Now let's try my favorite feature. Oh yeah. Still works.
Sue was transformed, not only from a parted out wreck into the shining example you see on your screen, but she was no longer a faceless luxury car destined for the scrapper. It was a project that brought together friends, made memories, and engaged millions of people, but we still had work to do.
And take a look at that. It is holding temperature, no problem. And that means that we have a running, driving Rolls Royce Wraith that needs a few little items, but I mean, just take a look at this. You got the Starlight headliner. That is so dope. I'm gonna put this in every single car I own. Okay, maybe not. Okay, so Matt's here.
Hi.
What do you think of my car?
Wheels.
Yeah.
10-10.
Yeah. They're
rolling like Snoop Dogg.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Proper blinging.
There are many spokes on these wheels. Wheelmania did a very good job.
Yeah.
But we did have a little bit of an oopsie.
Oh no.
Because as you can see, this is...
I never noticed.
I know you never noticed, but I noticed. You know, it's like an intention to detail. You know, that Rolls Royce. I don't think this would have came out of the factory looking like this. So at 1 in the morning, a few parts fell, and then they fell on the original nose cone and snapped it in half. So now I'm using Agnes's nose cone, and I was thinking, since I can't be here for a little while, I have to go home and do some builds back home, and I can come back here, and in that time, we could like either paint this or wrap it or something.
Yeah, so either two-tone or we paint it original. What do people think? Because I kind of like the two-tone on Agnes.
I really like it because it splits up the entire, it's a big slab of car, right?
Yeah.
So it splits that up, but then it also makes it look a little bit nicer, and it pops off with the wheels. So like silver and silver.
That is true. Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I think the silver could look really good. The thing is as well, that like this whole panel on Agnes, all of this is all silver as well. And this is, if I'm right, that all one huge panel, like A-pillar roof, all the way to the back.
It's not like a boltable thing. No.
no. So I don't know where we go from there. But
I think we either paint that or wrap the whole thing.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. It's looking really good though. Sue has got a new life.
Well, yeah. So it runs, drives. It doesn't overheat. It doesn't leak anything. But there is some stuff left to do. The interior is.
Yeah.
I didn't get to that. I kind of ran out of time. I was very tired.
Well, when you go back, we'll put a roll cage in it. Full track car.
Hey, so maybe don't do that. Maybe like just stop right there.
Freddie came back like I think it was the night maybe that grill broken at the front, because I think maybe it was like 2:30, 2 o'clock. I think was that the time when the grill broke.
Yes.
Yeah. Maybe it should go back and get back on Florida clocks and then.
Yeah, I am. I never adjusted to time here. But the car needs a few things. It's a really, really cool car, and now it has a cool story. And I feel like we should modify it just a little bit.
Yeah, we want to make it spot on before it goes, definitely. So whilst you're away, I'm sure me, Matt and my dad can crack on a few bits, and yeah, hopefully we could get a few miles in it as well. And
yeah, we should do like a little road trip or something, you know,
with the Rashford one. The
really?
sneaker guy.
the sneaker guy. Yeah.
Don't hate me. He plays football, aka soccer.
Oh, is that what he does?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right. So I think I need to get on a plane. This is my 2015 Rolls Royce Wraith, but it's not the one we started with. You see, this is not Sue, this is Agnes. This is the flood damaged Rolls Royce Wraith that I had to buy because Sue had a lot of parts missing. And honestly, this looks exactly like the Rolls Royce we started with. But in a lot of ways, I actually like this car more spec-wise. I thought it looked a lot more interesting, namely the fact that this was a two-tone car. It was burgundy on the bottom and silver on the top. And I thought that gave it a lot more class. And that's why I did this. Welcome to the new and improved Sue with her two-tone, well, not paint job. This is paint, but this is vinyl wrap. And one of the things I love is that this is now silver and it matches the wheels. One thing I don't love though is this is a brand new vinyl wrap, and look at this, look. There's a bird turd on the wrap, okay? That is unacceptable, and it's unacceptable for a Rolls Royce of this stature. Now, we do have a lot of work to do because, well, if you take a look at the interior, it's not as well sorted as the wrap was. And also you'll see that there's a side skirt missing. And if I'm honest, the car is sitting a little bit high. I mean, look at this. This is it's not a 2-finger gap. This is more like it's a 10-finger gap I got here. There's also an ABS light, there's an airbag light, tire pressure monitoring light, and probably a lot of other fault codes that we need to look at. And we don't have a lot of time because, surprise, surprise, there is a time crunch. I was invited to an event at the end of this week, and it is going to be hosted by none other than Richard Hammond, who told me to bring my A game, and this is going to be the car I bring, and I want him to see what I can build. I have my work cut out for me, and I should probably get my hands out of my pockets and get to work because we don't have a lot of time.
It's always the little things on a project that take the most time, but on a car like this, it's absolutely necessary. So I made sure the washer nozzle springs were set correctly, I looked through the ever-expanding mountain of Rolls-Royce parts in Matt's garage, and got to work installing the fender light, which was a little more trouble than I bargained for.
Check out this flood damaged part. You can see it's very, very corroded. It's a simple light, but it makes sense to de-pin this and then just clean it up. I think it can be cleaned up. It's not super terrible, but we definitely don't want to have this because then the light on the side isn't going to work. And after all, that's what makes a Rolls Royce a Rolls Royce. This light right here.
After the light harness was corrosion-free, I turned my attention to the fender trim panel, held on with around 10 small torque screws. This was also where the Rolls-Royce's iconic umbrella holder went, so it felt like I was putting some sophistication back into Sue. The way the side skirt went on, however, was a little less sophisticated.
So this is what we call 2 steps forward and 1 step back, or maybe 1 step forward and 2 steps back, because I put everything on here. See, the side skirt is on here. We have this inner structure that keeps all the door and fender aligned. And then we also have the holder for the umbrella, which is right here. And I have to take all of that off because I forgot to put this on. Honestly, I didn't know that, I forgot that it wasn't on the car. This is a little piece of foam. And some people might be saying, oh, foam's not that important. On a Rolls Royce, it definitely is. So Tony, Matt's dad, just, well, he gave this to me and he was like, hey, you're gonna need this. And I was like, thanks. Thank you very much. So we're gonna put this piece on that goes inside here, which means that we have to take all this off again, but it's fresh in my mind, so I'm okay. So do that, and then the outside will be done.
Even though doubling back on fiddly work you just did isn't my favorite thing, it was totally worth it because I know that every part on this complicated Rolls Royce was going back on it and we weren't cutting any corners. At least none that I would show on YouTube. As soon as the foam piece was in, I buttoned up the panels with the painted trim pieces and umbrella, a feature available on every Rolls Royce, and also the Skoda Kodiaq.
If we take this back of the seat off, the airbag is exposed, so Matt already took the airbag out of this, and we just have to take the airbag out of Agnes, put it in here, and hopefully this should all come together. If something's wrong, airbag could explode, or when it needs to explode, it doesn't explode. So both of those are suboptimal.
Now, it goes without saying that you should never go prying airbags with metal tools, but we made sure that the batteries were disconnected so I wasn't hit in the face with the world's spiciest whoopee cushion. I removed the connectors from the airbags along with 2 10mm bolts, and it was ready to transfer into Sue. I did the same thing with the curtain airbag, which spanned the entire length of the interior and only gave me slight crippling paranoia the entire time. I then mounted the side skirt with actual bolts, so a stiff breeze wouldn't be able to rip it off the car, before connecting the battery to see if it all worked.
So we are about to look at the electronics, all the ECUs of the car, and we're gonna try to take out some of the codes because we want everything to work as it did when it left the factory. But I just found out something really, really cool, and that's when we install this bumper, there is a sensor underneath that, let's say you're coming in from a hard day of, well, shopping and spending money, because of course you have this car. You're holding a bunch of stuff, and let's say the trunk is closed. So trunk is closed, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm holding all this gold from the gold store. And then you just do this, and like magic, I can put my gold in my car, and then just do this again, because what am I gonna do? Use my hands? Now look at this. We have the scanner attached. This is just a universal scanner. It's an Autel scanner. And you can see all the various systems in the car. I have done a quick erase, so there were a lot more codes here, but when we do a quick erase, what it does is it just flashes every module and it erases all the temporary codes. We don't have any airbag faults because we replaced the airbags up there and down here, and the only faults we have are dynamic stability control, we have coach door module, we have all-around view camera, and this is all going to be because we have no interior in the car. There's various modules and stuff that aren't talking to each other, and I believe that, you know, this car has like a ride height monitor right here, ride height control, and yet you see this fault right here. So let's go in here and we'll read the codes, and it tells me that central locking system and lid status signal invalid. So this is it monitors whether all the doors are closed. So I think that's when it does its thing. And if all the doors aren't closed, or it doesn't sense that the doors are closed, it won't adjust the ride height effectively. So if we essentially put this interior back together, we should be able to get rid of nearly every code here. And that is really, really good, because I thought that we were going to have to take this to the dealership because, you know, it's so complicated, but apparently we can do everything right here.
Now here's a fun thing about putting together a car you didn't take apart. You get to fix all the broken tabs that you find along the way. Now this isn't anyone's fault, because Rolls Royce's interior clips are very, very tough to remove, but it's nothing a heat gun and a pry tool can't fix. I heated up the existing glue, helped it along with some super glue, and we had a black leather trim panel ready to put back in the car.
There's glitter all over the back of this car. I don't want to know what happened, but I sort of do.
Now the back of the Wraith, as proven by the glitter, is quite a nice place to be. There's leather everywhere and it's quiet and comfortable. But that's because every panel has very exacting fitment, and it goes together in a certain sequence that I certainly had out of order. After a few do-overs and a few bouts of sweaty swearing, the interior was finally taking shape.
Okay, now the rear is in, and that is a big deal. I mean, we had that thing apart for a very long time. It's been apart for like 2 months. And actually, this car has been apart for a lot longer than that. It's a little bit late, if you can't tell. It's almost dark outside, and that means it's probably like 10 or 11 o'clock, because it gets dark around here like 9:30 p.m. But I am doing a quick spritz with this Mat Armstrong Detailing Products Interior Detailer. Mat Armstrong is not a sponsor of this channel, but he has let me use his shop for months at a time, and I'm wearing his merch, so go check it out. Does it say something in the back?
Brand new secondhand.
Brand new secondhand, just like this car. We are going to clean this up, and then tomorrow morning, well, I gotta put the door panel on, and then tomorrow morning, I think we can take it on its first test drive.
Yes.
Yeah, I think this is it. I think we're gonna have no issues. We need to get gas. We need to get fuel for this car.
You're gonna need a lot for the top speed run.
Yeah. And they don't have big fuel canisters here. Apparently it's a thing, like you guys just have people in the UK. I go to the fuel station and I want like a fuel canister so I can take it back and fill this thing up. And it's like, it's literally 1 or 2 liters. I can't get this to the fuel station with that. So yeah, we're gonna have to probably make a few trips.
V12 problems.
It's a V12 twin turbo problems.
Yes.
All right, I'm excited.
After a quick spit shine with Matt's special sauce, I laid out the wiring harness for the passenger's door and made note of where every plastic clip went. This is one of those jobs that requires you to have 3 hands and 4 feet, so I asked Tommy to help me guide this ginormous door panel into its new home. The next morning, we managed to find 2 single-gallon jugs, filled them with this weird thing called petrol, then spent the next 5.5 years pouring it into the car. When it was clear that we weren't at any risk of fire, we embarked on the inaugural voyage of the HMS Sioux.
All right, first drive, and it's actually really, really nice. But you'll notice right in front of me that the steering wheel it's a little cattywampus. Yeah, I thought, you know, we aligned everything pretty well. We didn't change any like geometry, but taking the subframes out of Agnes and into this car, obviously that shifted something. Okay, all right. So this car is gigantic on these roads. These roads are really, really, really small. And I don't understand how anybody could drive this on these really narrow roads, but I mean, the ride quality is as a Rolls Royce. It's just like it's like a pillow in here, even with the 22s. And I've noticed something. I did a little research, and if you put it into drive, then it's not very, I mean, it's definitely not going to be sporty. It's really quite sluggish. But there's a button here, it's called low. And if you press that button, it actually makes the car a little bit more sprightly. The gear changes go, I think 25 or 50% faster. This car does have a tire pressure warning light right now. And it did have a few warning lights for the stability control, and that's because the steering angle sensor is obviously out. It thinks it's always making a left turn when it's not. But everything else works pretty perfectly. Now, we do have to get all this stuff coated out, and I've noticed that the ride height on one side of the car has not been the most consistent. It's a little high, and when I say a little high, I mean really, really high. Actually, it's on that side of the car. That allows for some interesting handling. It's a little boat-like, but we don't have time to take this to an alignment shop because I was gonna take it to Rolls Royce, but turns out Rolls Royce is several weeks out. So we don't have any time to take it to Rolls Royce. We actually have to go to a show, and that show is very special because it is the Drivetribe live event. And I am a little nervous because Richard Hammond's gonna be there.
Believe it or not, we managed to use most of our 2 gallons of petrol on the way to the petrol station, so Sue was on fumes when we got there. I spent a shocking amount of money on fuel, especially when you consider we were probably going to have to fill up again in the same day because the show was 3 hours away. Now, I can't explain to you how much of an honor it was to be able to show one of my automotive idols the car I put together, but I was nervous. Really nervous. So nervous, in fact, that when we got to the show, I went the wrong way.
So we got in the wrong line, which put us all the way in the back of the parking lot, car park, sorry. And now we have to go around the entire event, and then this is not embarrassing at all. It's a good thing that this car doesn't attract attention. Just flies under the radar, you know. How are you? Hello. The turning radius on this car is not very good.
Why is it on stilts?
Is this
Listen, don't go and picking apart my car right now, okay?
Is this actually Sue?
It's Sue.
Fair play. Fair play, that
I could fit my head in your
You could. You know,
The other side's better.
We picked the wrong side.
we did pick the wrong side.
You flip it around.
Should I? Okay, so it's a little high on one side. Should I flip it around for the good side?
Why is it on the pit?
I don't think there is a good side.
There is a good side.
Is there?
I guarantee you there's a good side.
Freddie, just seeing your parking job, I think that might be the next event by the time you're done with it, though.
You know what? I appreciate the criticism. Not right now, okay? Not right now. Weirdly enough, a fault in my Rolls Royce has occurred on the way down on a 3-hour drive here.
Yeah, no shit.
And my air suspension is now very 4x4-ish on one side.
Okay.
Are you sure Mat Armstrong didn't nick the ride height sensors
So
on this side?
that's actually exactly what happened. So since we're using the subframes from a different car, they haven't been calibrated to this car, and this car has no idea what's happening. So I can't like raise it or lower it. It just like I could do that before, and now it just stopped being able to do that.
Shall we just say that the car's fine, but you are a heavy set man?
Yes, I'm laying down the other side.
Freddie's filled his jeans with concrete.
Yeah, your friend with the camera is actually only about 7 stone.
How much is a stone? How many American pounds is that?
12, 13 pounds.
like about 50 kilos or
50
60.
kilos.
Oh yeah, pounds.
Is that
100? He's 100 pounds.
Is that 1,000 pebbles? I don't know how. What is that?
It's 1,000 British pounds. British sterling.
Yeah. Do I pay that to you? Or?
Yes, you do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me get my card machine. One second.
With Sue on display with her skirt hiked up a little more than I'd like, I took some time to check out the local car scene, go on stage with some familiar faces, and truly enjoy everything oh my God, it's Richard Hammond.
Hey, how are you?
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
First of all, I'm a gigantic fan. I have a car that I'd love for you to check out, because we put this car together in basically like a week's time. And it's a car that started out like just a stripped shell. So this is, I mean, you're familiar with Mat Armstrong. So he bought the Marcus Rashford car, and in order to fix that car, he needed to buy another Rolls Royce. So I bought the car that he stripped.
So this is the donor car?
This is the donor car.
So it had been stripped when you bought it?
Yes.
Did you pay him well for this?
I did not pay him well.
Okay, good.
But unfortunately, Rolls Royce parts are really hard to come by, so I had to buy another Rolls Royce to do this.
Right, where is this Rolls Royce?
It's right over there.
Right, and this is the one, how long you did this in?
So this is about a week, say like a week, between a week and 2 weeks.
Oh, wait a minute, I was expecting an old Shadow or something.
No, this is a 2015 Wraith.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, so on the way here, so this was the first drive that I took in the car. It was to come here. And it was a 3-hour drive. And I don't know if you noticed, but there is a bit...
that's my first comment. It'll be good off-road.
It's a really good off-road car. It's not 4-wheel drive, so it's a rear-wheel drive, so it's more of a pre-runner.
Why is it riding so high? What have you done? Did you not read the instructions?
I didn't, yeah. Apparently these don't come with very good instructions. No, so what we had to do, we had to replace a front and rear subframes, the door, everything on the front, and a bunch of stuff on the interior. And what happens when you start mixing and matching Rolls Royce parts is the computers get confused.
Right, so it's the brain telling it I need to be 16 feet off the ground.
Yeah, it's like...
I need a ladder to get in.
Yeah, I think so. If it's like if you replace one of your feet, your body wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But it does drive really, really well. And it was all one color at one point. So we wrapped this because I thought, hey, Rolls Royce with silver wheels should have a silver roofline. It gives it a little bit more, elegance. And this is probably the cheapest Rolls Royce in the country. So
I love that you come over here. You Americans come over here. And you are smoking around in a roller. It's very cool. It is very cool. It's quite rock and roll, isn't it? I like it.
Well, around these roads, these like clearly one-lane roads that are 60 miles an hour, by the way.
They're a sensible size road.
They are not.
They're big enough for our cars. Grant you.
They're not. You make this here.
I did try driving a 71 boat tail. No, it doesn't fit. I tried. It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
In England.
No, this is
Yeah, it has presence on the road.
It's a school bus.
It's commanding.
Yeah.
I think it's superb.
Well, wonderful.
Absolutely tremendous. So this was what did he take from it?
So almost literally everything. So the wing underneath here, there's a bunch of coolant stuff that he needed for the car. There's brackets, a lot of nickel and dime stuff. But
was it because you fabricate stuff, or did you have to buy?
No. So what I had to do is I bought another one of these. So I bought, but it was flood damage. I bought a flood damaged one.
What I'm looking at is the product of 3 Rolls Royces.
Yes, it's a human centipede of Rolls Royces.
Yeah, and you're now saying this is a cheap way to get a Rolls Royce because it involves 3 Rolls Royces.
It does.
I can see the flaw.
It does.
If anybody's thinking, I'm going to do that, I'm going to build myself a cheap Rolls Royce. First start with 3 Rolls Royces.
But think about the story, Like for me, it's all about the story. This car was, it was gonna go to the scrapper at some point just to be scrapped out. Because it is incredibly hard to find parts for this.
But how many miles has it done when you
this says 50,000. Yeah.
And it was...
Yeah, that's...
But how much was this? Was 300?
So it was like 350 grand brand new. And these, I think Matt bought his for like 90. So that's a good depreciation. But then I bought mine for about half of that. So... I'm winning, I think.
It's really complicated.
There's a lot of
maths, but I think maybe you are winning. Well, it's very cool. I think well done. The ride height you've overdone.
So we'll fix the ride height. We have a computer, okay? We'll go back and we'll do this thing.
Be a big laptop fight.
I'm used to like a Mercedes S-Class or even a BMW 7 Series on which this is loosely based on. If you floor the throttle in this car, it really doesn't get out of its own way. It takes its time. Yeah.
It's discreet. It doesn't want to be hustled. It's a Rolls Royce.
At some point, you
wouldn't understand. You see, it's an English thing.
Oh, okay.
It's about elegance.
Well, wonderful. Okay, so all I wanted to do was, come here and hopefully get your seal of approval on what we have created.
You have it. I think you've saved the Rolls from the scrapper, which is good. It took 3 Rolls Royces to do it.
Yeah.
I think it looks really cool. I mean, it looks quite rock and roll. I think there's also something very cool about coming from America to this country as a car and smoking around the place in a Rolls Royce. That's kind of rock and roll.
Well, wonderful. Also, if you are, I'm going to extend this invite. If you are in the Orlando, Florida area, please come out to my shop. I have other cars that aren't Rolls Royces.
Yeah, I'd love to.
We got a McLaren P1 that I'm rebuilding. I mean, you've probably seen it on social media, the one that was in the flood. So I'm rebuilding that one because I love.
Oh, I'd love to drop in. I'd love to come see you.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, thank you so much.
Nice to see you today and enjoy the event.
Wonderful.
That is cool. That is cool.
Can I get a photo of you guys, please?
Yes. Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you.
Dude, thank you so much. Yeah, you have no idea what this means. Yeah, this is.
But I will come see you.
Wonderful. Yes, please do.
Right, where are we going?
Richard Hammond just gave me a seal of approval on my Rolls Royce. I can die happy.
If you told me 10 years ago that I'd be doing this, I would have never in my wildest dreams believed you. But after what was one of the highlights of my year, it was only fitting that we got some truly breathtaking scenery on the ride home. But the reality of it was, we still had to get Sue back to Matt's garage because we still had plenty of work left to do.
So as you can probably tell, that side of the car is full 4x4 mode. And the way we change that is with the ride height sensor adjustment, and I can only do that with the actual Rolls Royce tool. Now, I got this. I'm not gonna say where I got this, but I got it on my computer. We have it connected to the car. So hopefully we can get every dealer level thing that this thing needs finished. So the way you actually do this ride height adjustment is you actually have to measure the ride height using a tape measure. So I'm gonna do that. It's asking me to measure the vehicle ride height at the rear left in millimeters. And it's so weird seeing this like not in inches. Now you have to measure from the bottom center of the rim right there all the way up to the top of the arch. So this is 790 millimeters. It says the entered ride height value lies outside the permitted range. Okay, I think we figured something out. So since we have 22-inch wheels and the stocks are 21-inch, it didn't allow me to enter a value that was that high. So we just did a little bit of back of the napkin math, and we just subtracted 1 inch. And if we subtract 1 inch from everywhere, I think it should be okay.
Whoever coined the term measure twice, cut once never worked on a Rolls Royce Wraith because it seemed like my measurements had no bearing on what the computer thought reality was. After hours of fighting with the Wraith's confused electronic brain, I resorted to some drastic measures.
So I just took all of the air out of all 4 of the shocks, of the air shocks, and I want to see how this looks. Oh, dude. This is... Oh, she's dumped. So I can't drive like this, but it looks really, really cool.
Why can't you drive like this? I think we can.
I don't think I can turn very much. I think the fender would probably come off. You admiring my ride?
Yeah, that is sick. Yeah. Yeah, that is gangster. I feel like it should stay like that.
I agree, dude.
I feel like...
I think I can turn.
Why do you need to turn?
That's true. That is true.
Look how sick that looks.
We could camber it some more so you could turn.
Oh my, the fitment is on point.
It's dancing, look at it.
You ever seen a Rolls Royce dance?
What the hell? Why is it doing that? Whoa!
Yeah. Look at it. Look at it. It's calibrating itself.
Now with the ride height finally sorted and the computer happy-ish, there was nothing more I could do. I had to take Sue in to get seen by a professional.
So that's why I brought it here to Tires and Exhaust Galore, and they have been very well recommended, actually recommended by Curtis from Bentley Solutions because they know what to do in terms of the alignment and in terms of setting up all the other very complex systems on this Rolls Royce Wraith. Now, I have no idea what they're gonna do. I'm sure they're gonna connect a computer to it and then turn some wrenches, but hopefully at the end of this visit, this Rolls Royce should be mint.
There are several reasons why you need a four-wheel alignment, but the main one is your car won't handle or perform well if you don't have all the tires going where they're designed to go.
So here's what's going to happen. These bolts right here, they're called eccentric bolts. And when you loosen them and turn them, it actually changes the geometry of this lower control arm right here. So once that happens, that transmits the data from the wheel to that laser right there. And then you can see in real time what the alignment actually is. And they have all the specs here for what the car is supposed to be aligned to. So it's a very fiddly process, which is why this guy, professional, is doing it with very professional equipment, and why I'm just here talking to camera.
The entire process is done once, the car is moved back and forth for the suspension to settle, then the process is done a second time to check for any movement of the suspension components.
So we just got this report card here, and this is before and this is after. You see all this stuff is red, meaning that this was out of adjustment, and after adjustment, this is all within spec. So you see the steering wheel, it was off to one side, now the steering wheel is straight. We have our toe. Our toe is basically how far in the wheels are towed in or out. And this was completely out on one side, meaning that the car would have been tracking to one side or trying to turn its way to one side. But now we have everything basically the same. We have camber, caster, and thrust angle. Now thrust angle is interesting because it means between the front axle and the rear axle how far out that is, which means that if that's out a lot, the car is going to be literally crab walking down the road. So you don't want that. So all that stuff is good, and now we have to do the TPMS sensors, the tire pressure monitoring system. We have to align those to the car, and then do some stuff so the pedestrian warning doesn't start yelling at us. And then the car should be sorted, like done. Like done. This is great. This is fantastic. I've never, it feels weird. I shouldn't have a car that's done. It feels weird.
The guys lowered the car, programmed the tire pressure sensors, and Sue was done. But I couldn't help but reflect on the crazy adventure it was rebuilding her. This car brought me 5,000 miles away from home to a strange garage to meet up with people that aren't just friends, they're family. We had good times, we had bad times, but throughout the build, we knew that if we kept working, maybe, just maybe, it would all be worth it in the end. And spoiler alert, it was.
So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the brand new to me, 2015 Rolls Royce Wraith. We have 0 warning lights ahead of us. The steering wheel is straight ahead of me, and it feels fantastic in here, and it looks even better outside. So we have that awesome two-tone paint and vinyl wrap job. We have some really awesome 22-inch wheels because of Wheel Mania, and from where I'm sitting, this is one of the most luxurious, if not the most luxurious driving experiences I have ever had. And I've owned an S-Class, I've had BMW 7 Series. This blows it out of the water every day of the week. There is just something to be said about a Rolls Royce. You can tell that they really spared no expense on the suspension, on the double glazing here, on all of the sound deadening. It just feels like substantial. It feels like a yacht. It feels like something that really does cost 350,000 pounds when it was new. It's also fairly practical. It's not as terrible on fuel as I thought. I mean, it is a V12 with twin turbos, and it does push you along. It does push you along quite well. It has 600 something horsepower, and it definitely feels like it. It is a heavy car. It's not a sports car by any means, but it is one of the best driving experiences I have ever had. And I can't wait to show Matt, because where we're going right now is we're gonna visit my friend Mat Armstrong, the guy who sold me this car in the first place. The guy who sold me the car missing a lot of parts. So I wanna see if we get his seal of approval, and then we can actually raffle this car off, because I want one of you guys, one of my UK viewers, to potentially win this car, because I unfortunately can't take it back to the States. We have this weird archaic law that a car has to be 25 years or older in order for it to come back, and this car, being a 2015, does not fit. We have to either sell it or we have to raffle it off, and I think raffling it off is the best way for one of my viewers, or one of Matt's viewers, to get this car, and I am so excited to share this with you. What do you think Matt's gonna say, Tommy?
He's gonna want to keep it, I think.
I think he's gonna want to keep it. I honestly, I think this is a way better spec than the Rashford car. A lot of people might think, oh yeah, it's Mansory and blah blah blah, and you know, it's bespoke and $700,000 and whatever. I think this is way more classy. This car flies underneath the radar, or should I say sails, because it feels like a yacht. It feels like you're a master and commander of this ship. And even though we are on some very tight, technical, narrow roads, the more you drive this car, the more it shrinks around you. So I no longer feel like this is a school bus, or that I'm gonna take out a few hedges and take out my mirrors. This actually feels like it's just a regular car. It's very, very easy to drive. You just put it in drive and it just goes. And it goes pretty well. All right, so that's above the speed limit. That's above the posted speed limit. We probably shouldn't do that in a country where, you know, we don't live. But this is awesome. I hope Matt likes it, because I love it.
Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Yes. Bring on Sue. We're ready.
We're ready. Gee! Yeah! Oh,
that looks sick.
Yeah! Sue's alive! Sue! Back from the dead! Sue is back.
Yeah, dude, it drives so nice.
Oh.
It looks sick.
It looks really, really
Don't you
good.
feel good now she's not a corpse?
Yeah. Yeah, she's been resurrected.
Yeah.
And, well, rest in peace, Agnes, but,
yeah, rip.
But it's gone through the greater
Someone had
good.
to take it. Wait, that's a wrap?
It's a wrap, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's not bad,
It's
right?
sparkly as well.
It's well
Yeah, it is.
done.
Yeah, very sparkly.
I picked this car up from the dealership to its impending doom, but it looks better than when I picked it up, I'd say. I think it looks better now than when it was stock.
The wheels have made a difference.
Yeah,
Well, when you picked it up, it also had black badges and a black
It did.
Spirit of Ecstasy.
It did.
Yeah, it didn't look very good, and it was
No.
all one color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it looks better like this.
Yeah, it's a flex now.
I wanted all of you guys to sign this car.
Oh yeah,
We need to sign it, so I got a Sharpie. We're gonna sign it right in the middle.
Yeah.
So everybody can see who worked on it, who put their touches on it, and I think it's gonna be awesome.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're winning in life. Okay.
We are winning, yeah, we are winning.
You could sell it for £6 at least.
Oh yeah, at least.
Where are we going? Just straight on the screen?
Yep. Yeah, wherever you like there.
Yeah, so.
Sure.
What do you want to do with that?
Wait, but I didn't do anything.
Yes, you did. You were there.
You probably
every step
transferred
of
the
the way.
money.
Yeah. That is the only
You're the
thing I did.
financials.
I transferred the money
You
in
were
order
the
to
glue
buy
that held
it.
this all together.
There's going to be an thing there just so it looks.
There you go.
And Tommy.
No, no,
Yeah,
no.
you got to do it.
I can't. I
You
didn't.
yes, yeah.
I didn't do anything.
You did so much. Come on, Tommy.
You sure?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, what am I gonna write?
Just write.
Your name.
Oh,
Just write your name.
Should
Yeah.
I write what, womanizer?
Yeah. Don't. People don't know what.
Google my last name.
Google your not. Yeah.
TV.
Awesome. That is cool. All right.
There you go, that's it. That's yeah, that's perfect. That fills the gap. That gap was really annoying me. That was full.
There you go. So that is it for the episode. That is it for the build. I want to thank everybody that watched. I want to thank Mat Armstrong and his entire team and everybody that made this car possible. It is awesome. It really is. Wrench every day, get your hands dirty, and buy a Rolls Royce. They're really, really good. See you guys.